And welcome back to the Gran Turismo Online League. Man, it has been a long time. A bit of months and months since we've last had a race, and it's been a long time since I've had Rashad Metz in the booth with me. Rashad Metz, welcome back. We're finally back.
Man, I'm so excited to be back here to commentate these races today. Super excited to see what kind of action these new cars are going to put on this track today.
Yeah, it's been a couple months since we've been able to post anything, and we apologize for that. We've been kind of waiting for Sony and all of them to work out some kinks with GT7, but we think they've worked it out just enough for us to go racing here for the Thanksgiving 100. Rashad, how you feeling going into this, and how you think the drivers are feeling after having such a long hiatus from the last race?
Of course, a lot of these drivers are going to be rusty. I'm feeling really good about being back in the booth and being back at the racetrack. It's a real interesting race. We got a new car with a new set of rules we're going on this season. Not this season, but this race in particular, this exhibition. So far, this race is going to have drivers have to use their mind a lot more to strategize what kind of moves they're going to make, how they're going to pit strategy as well. So it's going to be really complicated, and it's going to really wake these drivers up. I feel bad for the ones that haven't been really racing much and they're still rusty, but they're going to have to wake up if they want to be able to be competitive in this race today.
This is the first race that we've actually had pit strategy and tire wear in, which we are only allocating 5 sets of super or soft racing tires for this race. The tire strategy will take effect. This is the first race we've had tire wear since the first season last year, so it's been a long time since we've had strategy. Do you think any of these drivers have kind of premeditated a strategy going into this thing, or you think they're just kind of going in blind?
I think it's very interesting. We have 5 sets of tires. We have 50 laps. People can pit every 10 laps if they want to. I've heard that going around, but that a lot of drivers have said that wouldn't be the smartest strategy to make. So I'm thinking a lot of these drivers are going to try to pit and break it up into 2 sections, trying to pit in the middle of the race, maybe around lap 25, and save the other sets in case some cautions come out. You get some fresh tires, fresh rubber underneath them, and they can go and attack and try to gain more positions on track.
Yeah, let's go with a little race breakdown here. We have 50 laps on this 2-mile racetrack, making it a 100-mile race. 3 very, very different turns. A very sharp high bank turn 1, a flat out high bank turn 2, and a flat wide, you got a break for turn 3. And fuel or the pit window is going to be about 20 laps. You can make it on a set of tire, 25 if you're lucky, before that right front and right rear start to give out. But it's going to be a good one. Are you ready to get down to the Metz painting grid walk?
I'm really excited. I can't wait.
Alrighty, and I'm going to start us off here. On the pole is CJ Howell in this number 58 car. CJ Howell is returning after a long time of being gone. It's been a long time since we've seen CJ Howell here. He's running the 58 car here tonight in the GRT, or Go Racing Together. CJ Howell only ran a handful of races. He ran about 4 races and won 2 of them, so he's a really talented driver. Sitting on the pole tonight, let's see how he will do.
Rolling off in second place, we have Miles Johnson in that Brown Motorworks Ford Mustang. Super excited to see what he can do today. He's one of those drivers that is really fast on ovals, and I think he's going to be a threat day in and day out today as long as he stays consistent and keeps putting those fast laps down.
Rolling off P3 is Nick Collier. Nick Collier in that number 10 car. Nick Collier kind of had a little rough season. The first luck never went his way, but man, he has showed some speed tonight, putting in a P3 for unqualifying. Had a lot of speed during practice, and he's looking to pick it up during the race. Nick Collier, look for him to be running up front and making some moves in that number 10 Brown Frown car.
Well, we have Rashad Metz rolling off in P4 in that Gran Turismo Online Plymouth. I see that Pontiac Plymouth in that number 24, Rashad Metz. So right now, he's not got the qualifying effort that he would have liked today. So right now, he's going to have to try to battle back, but you can't really ask much of him this race because he's going against those oval experts, as you see the drivers in front of him. They're really fast on ovals day in and day out. Rashad, not the perfect driver today, but I really feel like he might be able to put something together if he plays smart and races nice and slow.
Rolling off right behind him, a P5 is number 11 car of Donnie Wu. Donnie Wu, a very talented racer, picked up a couple wins of the Touring Series last season and I believe the first season of the league. Running with the Red Bull scheme here today. It's been a while since we've seen Donnie Wu race with us, but we're very happy to have him back and going to see how that number 11 car can go. So best of luck to Donnie Wu.
Rolling off next, we have Javen Tucker in number 99. See, Javen Tucker is one of those guys that's really good on Blue Moon. He did not get the qualifying effort that he would have liked. He thought he had a lot more pace in the car today, but just couldn't quite get it there during qualifying. But you know you're going to see him up front today because Javen Tucker is just one of those guys that knows how to control the pack quite well, knows how to stay up front in these wild, chaotic races.
And rolling off P last is Miles Turner. Definitely not the qualifying effort he wanted in that number 74 car, the Kool-Aid car. Oh, yeah. Anyways, he's the only Honda in the field, the only Honda Accord that we've ever had race in the GTO League. So very interesting brand choice here today, that Miles Johnson Motorsports number 74. But let's see if Miles Turner will be able to go. He's just going to feel things out and see how he can do during the race. And that's it for your Metze painting grid walk. Is there anything else you'd like to add before we go green flag racing, Rashad?
Nope. I'm just really excited to see what these new cars are going to do and see if these drivers can put on a hell of a show.
And it's a hell of a show it is. This three-turn speedway always seems to bring out the best as we're going to get ready to go green at the Thanksgiving 100 presented by the Gran Turismo Online League. And they are off. Let's see if we can get there we go. We needed some... CJ Howell is going to take the lead here as they go single file most of the way through the pack.
Really smart early on. They're going to stay single file. I think they're starting to branch out a little bit into turn one.
Little contact there later in the pack. Some drivers trying to make some moves here side by side. Metze trying to get a little line going on the bottom. 3 cars up top, 3 cars on the bottom, and 1 lone car out rear. Oh, Collier gets shoved out of line there.
What's the line to be in, Miles? What do you think these drivers want to put their cars on track, and how do you think the strategy is going to play in?
Well, as you're going to look, the top lane is the main lane that we saw come into play through qualifying and through practice. We saw a couple drivers, as CJ Howell in that 58 car, started running about a lane lower from the wall, but literally that top half of the racetrack, you can just get such a good run off the turn, as a lot of drivers ripping that high lane. Ooh, heavy contact in the back of the pack. A little smoke there from Javen Tucker. Luckily, everything sorts itself out.
As they're going kind of single file again, I think they want to just try to... You think these drivers are going to run their race nice and smooth? You think they're going to get real aggressive in these early going of the race?
I think a lot of these drivers just kind of hang back because this is such a long race. 100 miles, one of the longest races we've ever raced here at Blue Moon Bay. So we're just going to have to see how this thing sorts out, because you got to worry about tire wear, you got to worry about saving your stuff, you got to worry about so much that can go into what this race is.
The driver's a single file right now. A lot of pushing and shoving as Rashad Metze is in the lead, followed by Javen Tucker. Look at him fanning out Rashad Metze on that outside lane, trying to make it work.
Three wide. Wow, what a race these cars are putting on.
Javen Tucker clears Rashad on the inside lane. Not much of that. You didn't see much of that in practice. These drivers, I think, starting to figure out how to drive that inside lane, or they're trying to just save tires.
And let me tell you, this stock car package that we're probably going to run in the Strictly Stock Series coming soon, this is just put on a hell of a show here in its first ever showing in an actual league race. We did do a couple test races a while back, but this is the first real race that we've ever seen, and man, these fans are eating it up.
We had to fine-tune that setup a little bit more. A lot of drivers are on different things, but right now I see a battle for the lead right now. 3 wide going into turn 1.
Lots of contact with the wall.
Johnson trying to make it happen.
Lots of smoke there in the back of the pack. Javen Tucker, I believe, had some contact there.
Let's see what these drivers are going to do. Rashad Metze is playing both lanes here, trying to keep the drivers even, trying to maintain control of the field.
Now, we do have a new camera this year. I'm going to look at, this is one of my favorite views, a new camera view that we've gotten. And man, this is just something fun. You can see the driver steer that wheel, and man, this is just a hell of a camera angle.
You get to watch them use the stick shifter, see how they enter the corner, watch the RPMs, the revs. You get all the information you need right here. And they enter the corner really hard. Miles Johnson gives them a slight tap, trying to use the bottom lane. But here comes CJ.
Heavy contact. What a save there.
It was a great save by Miles Johnson. CJ just got a little tight going into the corner.
Yeah, you'll see a lot of drivers, you're just trying to get as much ground as you possibly can, especially off that bottom lane, because you can get a really good run in on the bottom lane, but you cannot get a run off versus that high lane. As you can see, CJ Howell trying to make another move down to the bottom.
CJ's been one of those drivers that can make the inside lane work. He's been doing it all in practice, and no other driver seems to be able to do it like CJ can. He's really good in the dirty air and knows how to navigate through traffic. Right now, he's found his way up into the lead. They do a
good shove from Donnie Wu there. Ooh,
oh,
really losing the
shove.
Then a couple drivers going to slip past there. Now 3 wide for the lead.
Down the straightaway. Who is Nicholas Collier going to give his push to? He looks like he's up there with Rashad. Let me give him a push around the outside. Rashad
and he clears him.
Rashad has been in the lead up towards the front for a good majority of the beginning of this race so far.
I tell you what, that number 24 car is always one to look for, no matter what racetrack we're in. Oh,
major contact, saves it. But if you saw in turn three, CJ Howe, he just drives on the bottom lane. You see how he goes on the apron, kind of uses it to rotate the car. I think that's how he's getting a lot of his speed in turn 3, and he's driving a different lane, keeps him out of the dirty air. The drivers are trying to battle back again through turn 1.
Now, we didn't really see racing like this in practice. We saw more single file runs, a little bit more of a spread out pack, as you see Johnson now going for the lead. Collier to his inside. But do you think that with such a large pack like this running as close and how aggressive they're running, you think we may see a large incident or the big one as everyone's been talking about?
Man, I would believe that there's one, but so far these drivers are keeping it pretty nice and tidy, except for a little bit of bumps and scratches, but nothing that's going to hurt them. But see him single file out, I think they're starting to relax a little bit. But here comes Donnie Wu as soon as I said that, to the inside.
Ooh, lots of contact.
Wow, a lot of drivers slid up the track.
The smoke and the sparks are flying, a little bumping and banging action in these stock cars.
There's not many places to pass on this track. You can pass on the straightaways into turn 2 and kind of try to pass in the corners, but turn 1, that bottom lane is not really the fastest one. So these drivers are trying to figure it out as their tires wear. So Miles, how do you think the tire wear is going to affect this race and how these drivers approach it?
Ooh, Johnson almost lost it there, but man, I just think as the run goes on, these cars get tighter and tighter because those right side tires just melt off of this race car. We saw it during the tire test earlier this week. We saw it during the car test here. Saw it again during practice and qualifying. So just look at how these cars tighten up. You're going to see a lot more mistakes made by drivers trying to run that bottom lane, and I think that high lane is going to get even stronger.
Well, it's getting real interesting because these drivers like using the high lane because they kind of get that bubble of air between the wall and the side of the car, and it helps it turn the car through the corner. It allows you to get on the gas sooner. As they go 3 wide into turn 3, how are they going to navigate it? Rashad backs out, but he tries to go for the undercut. Miles Johnson, he tries to go 3 wide. What can he do?
Ooh,
and he makes it happen. Here comes Javen Tucker trying to go for a valiant effort. All these cars under
3 by 3, 4 wide now.
All these drivers under a
blanket. Lots of contact. Where did the camera go? There it is.
We got to get our drone to get better.
Yeah, this is a little new camera setup we got this year since we're on GT7 instead of GT Sport. So we're still working out the kinks and knocking some of the rust off.
We see Miles Johnson to the lead for the first time this race.
Yeah, he's a pretty good oval racer. He did pretty good here. Won a track championship here in the past with a little help from Rashad Metze. So look for him to be running up front, but a lot of good drivers here. Everyone is competitive.
As you can see, Miles Johnson using that bubble against the wall as he rolled the outside lane to clear Javen Tucker on the inside. As you see, Finlay Slugger followed him on through to take second place. We're 1/5 of the way through this 50-lap slugfest so far.
Ooh, lots of contact.
A lot of contact. These drivers get so tight. This car doesn't have a lot of downforce. These guys used to driving those GT cars, but now we took a lot of downforce off the car and added a lot of horsepower. So they're really trying to navigate the change.
Yeah, you take
figure it out.
A look forward from Rashad Metz's front bumper, and you see that tiny little baby duckbill spoiler. A lot less downforce. These cars are about twice as heavy with about half the downforce as the normal Group 3 cars we're used to running. So this is a huge changing as we are 3 wide for 3rd place. But this is a huge change for these drivers. And man, what do you think it takes for these drivers to adjust to a new car like this?
Nothing more than I can say than a lot of laps. I think these drivers have put in the time for practice. Not only did a lot of drivers show up to open practice, but these drivers have been showing up during the middle of the week. We had some track days in the middle of the week, and some of these drivers showed up and put some laps down. Some of these drivers even went and tried to put it on the road course just to get more familiar with the race car, and I think that was really helpful to some of these drivers, and they're really figuring out how to drive fast. They're trying to go 3 wide once again into turn 3. Donnie Wu is going to send it on the inside. Is he going to make it stick? Rashad Metze on the outside is going to make it run. Gets thrown off the top side and clears him once again. So far, these cars are just running really good together in traffic. Under a blanket as Javen Tucker tried to go for the lead once again.
Here comes CJ, lots of contact. Big wreck! Massive pile up behind the leaders. The big one happens at turn 1. Turner involved, Johnson involved, CJ Howe.
Caution is out.
The first caution of the day. God. Johnson caught up in it. Miles Turner, CJ Howe, Donnie Wu. A lot of good race cars. Only about 2 race cars did not make it through.
What did we just watch?
I don't even know whose car to watch this through. Let's go back a little bit.
I think Miles Turner was the catalyst for that.
Sends it
on the inside, breaks through the lane, gets in the contact.
A massive wreck happens.
Saved by Rashad, though, at the same time as he got clipped on the way out of that massive wreck. Let's get an in-car cam of Miles Turner going into that corner.
Here we go with the in-car with that Lightning McQueen helmet on. Man, he
said he is speed. Went in too hot.
It's a massive wreck. Let's take a look at one of the cars behind. Here's Johnson's view.
A lot of smoke. I think Miles Johnson was just in the wrong place at the wrong time. Oh, he gave. Couldn't quite get through. Couldn't check up in time.
Man, this is just a massive incident.
You hate to see it. You hate to see it. Massive wreck. All the smoke.
Nicholas Collier there. There's so many different views we can watch about this wreck, but man, I think this might be one of the biggest wrecks that we've ever seen here in the league. Just a massive pile. What a save by Rashad Metze. Let's take a
real sideways.
Take a look at this real quick.
See, goes inside. Big Mouth tries to go to the inside of him, into the wall. Side snaps it back straight.
I want to watch the in-car camera of this one, and then we'll continue on with the race.
Really wrestled it through the corner. Got clipped right there, and it threw the car around. But look how they used the wheel there. Great save. But the caution is out.
Javen Tucker is your leader here.
I don't know what these drivers planning on doing. I don't know. I think these drivers are going to come in for a fresh set of rubber.
Yeah, we have heard that the pits are open this time around.
We're 13 laps into this run. All those drivers spun, so I think they want some fresh rubber under their feet. See if they can go back and attack once again.
Let's see who all is going to make the hard left turn on the pit lane here. It looks like everybody's getting down to get some fresh rubber.
Real interesting. Everybody goes into pit lane trying to get some fresh rubber here. Who's coming into the pit box? I think this is our leader of Javen Tucker. He's going to come in for some fresh tires. Here he comes.
Javen Tucker getting fresh rubber. We got Miles Johnson on pit road. Rashad Metze getting pit. CJ Howe, and your race off of pit road is going to be Tucker first, Metze second, Johnson third, Howe fourth. I believe Miles Turner fifth. Sixth, Donnie Wu, and seventh is Collier.
I think those drivers really need some of them fresh tires, especially after sliding the car, and it wouldn't be smart to stay out even if you weren't involved in a wreck, because you would be behind on tires, and the track position wouldn't quite be worth it so early on in this race.
I'm going to get a little fast forward action here so we can get back a little racing. 14 laps down. So I believe that was about when green flag stops were going to happen. So that actually helped a lot of drivers make the decision on when to pit for the first time. But we're going to see how this shakes up the last half of the race as we come to get the green flag. And we're going to restart at the line.
Javen Tucker's there. Rashad Metze side by side. Rashad not letting him get too far ahead. As they're about to take the green flag, who's going to push who? Miles Johnson tucked up really nice and close to the rear end of Javen Tucker. As you see, giving him a good push
side
into turn
by
one.
side. A lot of drivers bumping and banging already going into turn one.
Rashad has that high lane. Can he get a run down there? Can Javen shut the door on him? Javen doesn't quite get there. Rashad clears him and gets the lead once again, but Javen Tucker and Rashad Metze, when they get on the track together, you'd always know there's going to be sparks. Those drivers race hard with each other every chance they get, bump and bang.
Side by side. Metze is going to tuck in behind.
Oh, Metze is going to try to go to the inside. CJ to the outside. Gives a little bit of contact. Rashad trying to clear him on the inside lane. He's going to be able to get there. Not quite. Falls back in line. Starting to single file out a bit this race. I think these drivers realized how hard they wrecked, and they was like, man, we only have 5 sets of tires, so we can't really be out here racing that hard.
Ooh, a lot of drivers in the wall in turn one.
Now 4 more sets of tires since after that previous pit stop, but these drivers, I think, they're going to calm down a little bit, drive a little more single file. I see some smoke coming off the 10 car of Nicholas Collier. Haven't really heard from him much this race, but I think he's going to find his way back to the front of the pack. Here comes CJ Howell trying to go back to the lead. Gets on the outside lane where he feels the most comfortable, using that bubble right up against the wall.
That's a little slide job action.
Gets a little push. These drivers are starting to be a little bit more calm as you see the paint getting physically scraped off the bumpers of these cars as these drivers are really giving each other some hard pushes. Oh, big slide! You hear the tires scrubbing in the corners. These drivers try to get every last bit out of them.
Yeah, you got a couple cars here in the back. You got Nicholas Collier and then Miles Turner. You think they're trying to save a little rubber back there, but they're going to end up losing a lot of time out of the draft.
That's the tricky part. If you want to save rubber, you want to kind of run those outside grooves, you know, kind of take all the stress off the tire. But if you fall too far back off the pace, then you might lose the lead draft, and that's going to mess up your pit cycling, and that can really take you out of contention in this race today. So right now, as you see these drivers are single filing out, just pushing. Here comes Javen Tucker. Always proves me wrong when I'm commentating something. As he goes to the inside, he's been really fast on the inside lane. I wonder if he can clear him, and he does clear on the inside lane. What a run by Javen Tucker. Get some help from CJ on the inside lane.
Yeah, Javen Tucker says that he wants to make an unearthly pass like Rashad Metze did to win at Watkins Glen against him. So Javen Tucker's going to try to make a big pass to beat Rashad Metze in this race.
You see these drivers are really putting it all out there, really using all the grooves of the racetrack. This is something that we did not see in practice. That's a lot of drivers have hard contact with the wall. We did not see a lot of these drivers using multiple grooves. It's been mainly just the top lane as the strong lane, but I think as the track rubbers in, these drivers use these different grooves, they're kind of getting some more grip down there.
Yeah, you can see the lane starting to rubber up actually a little bit. We did not see the track rubber up like this in GT Sport, so it's really cool to see that extra layer of grip add up.
Single filing out, Javen Tucker still thinks he can pull the whole line by himself.
Oh, a little 3 wide action there for
wide
third. Still 3 wide.
On the outside, gets into the wall.
Oh.
What a save by Javen Tucker. Flying to the corner. Rashad going for the gap in the middle.
Man, that was a lot of abreast there. 3 abreast. As you see, Turner is trying to run the high lane in the back.
What an awesome race we're witnessing right now. So far, 21 Miles Johnson drifting through through turn 1. That's not going to be good on that right rear tire. But we're 20 laps in, 2/5 of the way through this race. I don't know, as you can see, the drivers are becoming a lot more comfortable with the car and how it handles. And I think these drivers are starting to change up their game plans a little bit after that early wreck. What are you thinking?
Yeah, they might be changing up your game plan a little bit, but I gotta ask you a little personal question here. Now, do you like this stock car racing here better, or do you like the old Group 3 racing that we used to run here?
The thing about that old Group 3 racing, it was very unpredictable, very wild, but at the same time, the skill really couldn't show as much as it really should. But with this racing, you see where the drivers, you see the skill show, how these drivers use the very minimal amount of downforce they have, how they draft, when they pick their times to make the moves. and everything like that, and especially with the tire management. A lot more plays into this race, and I think it makes it a lot more entertaining. Not only is the racing good, but as well as the skill and strategy plays in a lot more.
Side by side for the lead. Ooh, 3 wide. Here goes Nicholas Collier.
Tucker's making a move. Here comes CJ Howell. Can get a real good run off the top lane. Stays up front. You see your shots drop to the back of the field here. He's pushing Donnie.
Johnson barely cleared Howell there for the lead.
Oh, a lot of looseness. I think those tires are starting to wear a little bit. They pitted on lap 14. Starting to feel those tires go away. It's a really complicated thing.
Single file action now.
Really complicated thing about this race is that these drivers have the slipstring is so strong in the dirty air, you really use up a lot more of those tires when you're riding behind somebody. So I guess it's kind of a benefit to be in the lead, but at the same time you're going to leave yourself open and vulnerable to being passed. So what do you think you want to be right now in this phase of the race, Mal?
You just want to be somewhere in that lead pack. You don't really want to be where Nicholas Collier is, or say Miles Turner is right now, out of that lead pack, because then you just got to hope for a caution, or whoa, big moment. Well, you just got to hope for something like that to happen. That kind of checks everyone up, but you used to be somewhere, I think, in the back of that lead pack. That way you can see when everyone wants to pit. You're going to be able to see when people are pitting in front of you. You're going to be able to see what the pack's doing in front of you. You're going to be able to see if there's a big wreck in front of you. Hopefully you can get through and kind of save some tires back there on the back edge of that lead draft.
Not at you, bro. I like how you brought up the tire strategy and the pitting strategy under green flag conditions, because honestly, you can't pit by yourself here. I wouldn't think that would be the smart strategy to do, because it's very slipstream influence racing here. So I feel like, do you think these drivers are communicating with one another, trying to group up and pit at the same time, or you think they're trying to pick somebody that they can trust to race with and push with to pit together? Or you thinking these drivers are just free for alling right now?
I think a couple drivers like Turner and a couple other drivers might just be going with the flow, and if they see a good number of cars pit in front of them, of course they're going to pit with those cars to get some help. But I think a couple cars might be starting to communicate to each other, you know, a little radio chatter just to say, hey man, you trying to go when I'm trying to go, you know, just to help each other out a little bit. But then again, someone could say, yeah, I'm going with you, but then when you go, they don't go, and give them an advantage and take away yours.
Wide for the lead to turn one. My apology for cutting you off there, but racing on track, we're starting to heat up a little bit.
Oh, it has been red hot this entire race with these cars. We're 3 wide again for the lead.
Javen Tucker and Rashad Metz once again battling each other out. Oh, as you see, these drivers are bumping, and here comes Miles Johnson to the inside, takes the lead once again.
CJ Howell's now got some help on the bottom.
And here goes Javen Tucker. But look at Rashad, tries to make a move on the outside lane, 4 wide for just a split second.
Tucker slides up.
Nicholas Collier is back in the mix. So is Miles Turner.
The whole pack bunched up.
These drivers pitted at lap 14. These drivers have about 12. Oh, Nicholas Collier saves it.
What a save there by Collier. But man, they are beating these cars up.
They really are. They're about lap 12 on this set of tires. They pitted at lap 14. So I think these drivers are starting to think about pit stops and when should they come in and get a fresh set of tires. So I think we can expect some reflat pit stops in the next coming laps. If not, I feel like some drivers could stretch it. But I think it's based on who pits. If the majority pits or if the leader pits. I think people might try to go on the opposite strategy if the leader pits first. But if somebody else pits, I think they're going to try to synchronize it together.
The lead pack's starting to get a little separated there after a little incident there. Turner back there, Collier and Wu back in the back. But if you pit now, the drivers are still most likely going to have to make one more pit stop. Unless they're going to try to stretch it to the end. Johnson has a huge lead after what just happened.
I don't know if that's a good thing or not, because those cars are freight training up right now.
Yeah, those cars are.
Miles Johnson.
They have the slipstream right now. Johnson does not, so they're definitely going to be able to come up on them really fast.
Depends on how easy they can make this pass. Johnson can
As
make
you
their
take a
life
look,
really hard.
Johnson's going 153 on the straightaway, and metze is going about 10 mile an hour, if not 20 mile an hour faster. So definitely gaining a whole bunch of time on Johnson right now.
See the inner corner, they run the high lane. See Rashad Metze really just feathering the throttle there on the outside until he can get the throttle fully down without hitting the wall. They're still reeling in Miles Johnson.
As you can see,
2 laps of the race,
we have the tire
right
telemetry up in the bottom left of your screen. You can see the tire wear on these tires. A little bit better tires through some drivers. Ooh, look at Miles Turner actually has the best tires out of the field right now. About halfway. He's been doing a good job of saving his tires.
It shows how these drivers like their cars to handle that, whether they adjusted those brake biases to see. There's some drivers like looser race cars and some other ones like tighter ones. So I see Donnie Wu trying to go for the lead as Rashad Metze is 2-3 wide.
Oh, four wide!
Going to turn 1. Big Miles. Miles Turner's getting a little loose going into these corners.
A couple of these drivers are getting down low, looking like they might try to make a pit stop this time around.
Linking together.
A couple hands out the window, a couple little gestures.
30 on lap 30. Let's see what happens here. Miles Johnson's on the outside lane. They're all on the outside going in a massive pack right now.
Oh, and it looks like Miles Johnson done it. A lot of cars on the pit lane.
Rashad Metze.
3 cars stay out. Javen Tucker, Donnie Wu, and Miles and Nicholas Collier. 4 out of the 8 or 7 cars pit. Here comes Johnson. Gonna take 4 fresh tires.
Let's look at what Rashad Metze and what the top 3 in the field is doing right now. How they're going to combat this strategy. They see they're a little bit separated. Rashad checks up to let CJ catch him. I think he wants to pit together with him. I think they're communicating. They don't want to be too far behind the pack. They can't stay out way too much longer.
As we can see, there's a large pack forming behind them that just came off of pit road. But it seems like Nicholas Collier and Javen Tucker had a little slower stops. As you see, the 2 leaders are now peeling off on the pit lane. And Miles Turner is going to come on the pit lane too, and he slams the end of pit wall. That's not a good stop for Miles Turner.
Can these drivers make it out in front of the pack that's coming? They have to pull off a money stop of a lifetime right now. They're putting the tires on. They're coming right across the front, right beside them, side by side.
And the pack is just past. What a stop by the CJ Hell and Rashad Metze. They rejoin in the pack.
Cycled out beautifully side by side. I think they're going to work together to try to regain some time on the 2 drivers of Miles Johnson and Donnie Wu.
Now everyone pretty much rejoined the pack. The only big loser in this pit cycle is Miles Turner, who unfortunately hit the end of pit wall with a full head of steam. Guess he did not know if he was going to pit that time or not.
Hope he can recover from this. He really needs, he really wants a good finish today. So I'm just really hoping that something happens so he can get Big Miles back into the mix of it. Because you see, he has the fastest lap on the racetrack right now. So he has a fast Kool-Aid machine underneath him. See Rashad Metze trying to work his way around Miles Johnson. Oh, major contact!
A lot of these things, well, there's something that I've noticed with these cars that you didn't see in our Group 3 counterparts. As when these cars break into the corner, the front end really slams down and sucks down to the track. It's really cool to watch how that front end lurches down to give you some more downforce going into the turn.
Let's see if we can witness it. As you see these drivers into the corner, Rashad Metze trying to make that inside lane work. What a sin!
Ooh, the pack is definitely forming back up. As the stands are packed yet again. Ooh, what a finish that would have been. Cars all over the place.
Once again, all these drivers are underneath a blanket.
Ooh, contact in the back. Ooh,
let's see what it looks like to drive inside one of these cars while in the middle of the pack.
Well, let's take a look at CJ Howe. He's in the middle of this pack right now.
Right now, he's really racing really smart here, trying to pick his lanes. He likes the outside groove a lot. He can race all of this racetrack, so he's working with Rashad Metze right now, currently trying to get around Miles Johnson. Made some contact with the wall, didn't get in as good as he wanted to because of that dirty air, but he's going to try to get a run down the front straightaway. Here comes Rashad Metze trying to pass Miles Johnson for the lead. Here comes Donnie Wu trying to pass CJ. Contacts made at the 3 wide, trying to go into turn 1.
Here's looking for Donnie Wu's camera. Ooh, big
Bump and run.
As now we're on board with Nicholas Collier there.
A UPS machine back into the mix.
Man, you sure do have your hands full when you're back here in the back of the pack, because you never know what everyone's going to do around you.
Look at him crank at that steering wheel while in the pack. As you see the difference between the dirty air and the clean air, on how hard these drivers have to turn these cars. But it's interesting, as the race progresses, we want to talk about the tire wear situation. As you see, these drivers, I think, now have 3 sets of tires left remaining in this race. And what's interesting is if you stay out so long, you can lose up to a 1.5 seconds due to tire fall off, which is a big difference maker from fresh tires to worn tires, especially if you have some help drafting down the straightaways.
Yeah, we see the tires starting to fall off. I'm just looking at the telemetry here on Johnson. We see the tires pretty much about the same throughout the entire pack. Turner again has the best tires in the pack. So a lot of different, you see Turner running that clean air, saving a lot more tire than everyone else that is running about 10 to 20 mile an hour faster in this lead pack.
These drivers single filing out, and they single file out during the straightaways, and then right at the last second they want to pull out and try to make the pass. As you see, these drivers starting to work together once again. Miles Johnson to the inside, hungry. Oh, they're about to get too wide. Are we going to see like a 2 wide pack break out here? So far we haven't really seen much of that. They've been single file or trying to pass. But oh, big push from CJ. Miles Johnson maintains control of the car. It keeps it off the wall. Rashad Metze tries to get to the inside. They're 2 by 2 going down the front straightaway, something we hadn't seen much of this race.
2 by 2 throughout the pack. Now let's see how much they fan out and going into turn 1. 3 wide. Trying to run the high lane. Oh, almost 3 wide again there.
Rashad's pushing, giving Miles all the bumper that he could manage.
And he clears both of them, and now goes to the inside of Johnson.
But Johnson still has that preferred racing line. Miles Johnson's going to be able to work that outside lane out. Rashad all the way onto the flat with a little loose moment on the transition.
3 wide.
Rashad loses a lot of positions, backs out of the pack, not wanting to catch much of the war that's happening in the front. See how fast those cars fly down that front straightaway. Look how fast they take these corners. 100 miles an hour, and then get back on the throttle.
What a save by Johnson there. Did you see that? I'm going to take another look at this one, but going to turn 1. It's a little loose moment. Sideways, smoke flying. A little drifting action.
Entire corner.
That's not helping the tire situation, though. That's one bad thing about that. 4 wide.
Down the back straightaway.
Do you think these drivers will pit again? The pace hasn't really slowed down as much as we expect. But do you think any of these drivers are thinking about pitting before the end of this thing?
If I was the drivers, I wouldn't pit right now. I would stay out and just run the rest of this race. But if a caution comes out or a lot of drivers pit at the same time, then I would pit as well. But right now, I feel like all these drivers are just trying to settle in and run these tires to the full stint. Because right now, they're going to run them straight to the end of the race, which is going to be just about a full tire wear stint. And not like full in the sense of just a little bit of wear kicking in. It's going to be the full sense of people's rear tires might be going down. So it's getting really interesting to see how these drivers play their hands here.
Yeah, we look at the right rear again. Turner still has the best tires in the back of the pack, but everyone pretty much about halfway, and we still got 10 laps to go. So those tires are going to be close to gone, if not gone, by the end of this thing.
You see your drivers starting to use a lot different lanes because of the dirty air and the tire wear combination. Miles Johnson, Miles Johnson is going in the pit lane.
And nobody went with him. That is not good for Johnson. As his crew awaits him, that was a terrible call.
I think that was a Ferrari strategy call right now. You see Charles Leclerc is losing points once again to Sergio Perez with this pit strategy.
Now this did work out a couple of times for Johnson in the test sessions earlier this week, but that was only with 3, 4, 5 cars. Now you got a pack of 6 to 7 cars that are going about 20 mile an hour than a 4-car pack would. So I don't think Johnson's going to be able to catch him by himself.
The real question is are they going to try to counter Johnson's strategy by running together in a pack? Are they all going to come down and get some fresh tires as well? Because there is still a threat that Miles Johnson might be able to run some fast laps with those fresh tires, depending on how much the fall off is of a second and a half. But at the same time, there's only 10 laps to go in this race. So
yeah, I think if you're still out on the racetrack at this point, you might as well stay committed to try to stay out to the end. Just the way that the pace is picked up in this race, I just think that you need to stay out on the racetrack and hope it goes green to the end.
But so far, looking at what we have going on, if they were running just like this, green flag to the rest of the race, as it seems like it's going to happen, who's your favorite so far as the tires wear? Do you have a specific person you think is the fastest on worn tires?
I mean, a lot of people have been up front, but you've really seen that 24 car or CJ Howell. Look at those top 2 right now. Either one of these guys could take it home. Call it, or CJ Howell, our pole sitter, he's been really fast in the tire race, and just Rashad Metz has just been one of the top in the field here today in that number 24 car. He's really been showing how it's done and making some aggressive moves to stay up front.
This is going to be a real interesting race. I think your tire wear is going to come into play, and right now, after seeing practice and watching a lot of qualifying, these drivers have put over like 200 laps on this setup. I feel like CJ Howell might be one of the faster cars on one racing tires. I've never seen somebody drive a race car like him so far when the tires start to wear. But him and Javen Tucker are really quick on these tires. But Rashad Metz, as you see, he's falling back in position. Not really the fastest on worn tires. He doesn't really feel comfortable with the way the car handles when the tires are starting to wear. I think he's starting to back the corners up just a little bit, trying to save a little bit of rubber for the end of this race.
Which, it is getting a little crazy up front. You see him getting a little wild. So maybe Metz is trying to back it up a little bit, hoping something happens, because lap 45 is the last lap of caution. If you spin out a wreck after that, we're sorry, but we're going to keep the race going, because we have to finish this race under green. So it's just that it's all about strategy here.
As you see, they're starting to spread out a little more. The moves are starting to get a little more reckless because these drivers want all the track position they can have. If the tires wear, a lot of mistakes can happen with worn racing tires. Lap 44.
Yeah, 6 cars are currently in this.
You see all the slip in the right rear tires that people are having, and a lot of contact with the wall. These drivers are starting to really feel that tire wear.
A little update. Miles Johnson just ran the fastest lap of the race with a 44.05, and the last lap for our leader is 7/10 slower than that. So I don't know if that's something to worry about or not, but got to keep an eye on it.
See Miles Johnson's like half a track away from these drivers. I don't know if he's going to be able to pull this off in the same number in the amount of laps that are left, but
the way this pack is going, I don't see the fall off as much, but just look at the tire wear. The tire wear is crazy up front, but I still think this lead pack is definitely going to be able to keep ahead of Johnson, and Johnson's only hope at this point is a caution.
In turn one, you see these drivers are slipping and sliding through the corners. Oh no!
Big Johnny Woo goes around! The big break for Miles Johnson. Everyone is now back in this race.
Miles Johnson is back in the mix. Now what's going to happen here? Is everybody going to counter the strategy? They're going to pit. Is Miles Johnson going to stay out? What's the deal? Because a lot of these drivers need fresh rubber.
A lot of drivers just checked up, and Donnie Wu was unfortunately at the wrong place at the wrong time. Let's watch the in-car camera.
Look how much wheel. See how little throttle these drivers are putting in? Big stack up on the outside lane.
Yeah, just a big stack up. And at this point in the race, it's all go and no give. So we're just going to see how it's doing. But we're going to have, I believe the pits are open this time, so we're going to have a 3 or 4 lap shootout. This is going to be wild. Pit strategy is going out the window. Holding back is going out the window. It's nothing but 110%. You're going to be given shove and a half. You're going to be given shove and 3/4. It's going to be crazy.
But think about this, Miles Johnson still has the opportunity to stay out and gain plenty of track position because it's not super easy to pass because he has the fresh tires. So
they're not as fresh as he'd like. I think everyone's still going to be able to come to pit lane just to give you that little edge.
All right, everybody. Miles Johnson comes down too. He said he wants to pit. He trusts his pit crew to get a fast pit stop. He's going to try to gain some positions under the pit stop.
I love watching these pit cinematic scheme or these scenes here on pit road. You see the 99 car getting 4 fresh tires, the 24 car getting tires, 58 car, all the cars. Now the race off of pit road, the 58
CJ comes
car.
out in first, followed by Miles. I think they're fixing the order.
Yeah, a little mess up there.
Improper pit entries. These drivers are double filed out right now on their pace limiters, pace lap limiters right now. As you see the of the cars.
Yeah, what do you think is going through these drivers' head right now? I mean, you got 4 laps to win this 100-mile race. You've been racing for 40 minutes at this point. Just, what do you do? Is your heart pounding on your chest? Are you still calm at this point? But
my heart's pounding out of my chest right now just watching this race. I really think that these drivers' heart rates are probably through the roof right now as these drivers are starting to set up. I think it's going to be balls to the wall. These drivers are going to put everything they have left out there. They got fresh tires, fresh tires underneath them. They got good people to push, good pushers in the field. I think some of the best pushers, though, I'll say Miles Johnson, and I think he's the best pusher out there on the track right now. So I feel like if he get out there, can push his line, he might be able to switch the tide of this race and get back to the front. But it's not a tall ask.
And the last restart of the race, the end of 100 miles. Who is gonna pull it out in the Thanksgiving 100? CJ Howe trying to make a move up front.
Trying to block, trying to maintain the lead
Goes
here.
wide in the turn.
Rashad's working that inside groove with the fresh tires while he can.
Johnson gained 4 spots in the first turn.
They're double filed out.
All bets are off. Everyone's on an equal playing field. Everyone has fresh tires at this point.
Rashad Metz is right where he wants to be in this race. CJ Howe, we're using those fresh tires to work in that bottom groove, and it's working for him almost. Some contact on the exit of the corner. As they take lap 48.
We got 3 more laps to go.
Excursion. As we're coming down to the last few miles of this race.
It's one of the longer races, so this is definitely going to mean a lot to these drivers to win such a long race. Hopefully it all plays out.
But at the same time, this could be foreshadowing who's going to be the best in this race car come season start. So, and so far, seeing how even everybody is, it's gonna be hard to believe that there's gonna be some a dominant person.
Everyone's been so competitive this race. 2 to go from the flag stand. 2 more laps remaining. 4 miles.
There's 4 miles left in the race and 2 on track.
Ooh, big moment in the back of the pack there. Slow both miles is up.
Donnie Wu is up front with Rashad Metz. Rashad's trying to push him, trying to break away from the field. He might want to take this race and have this battle between them two, but the field's starting to work together, trying to battle back here. As they're kind of separate, you see the tandems.
A bunch of tandems coming into play now.
Here comes Javen Tucker. Javen Tucker gets a massive push. CJ Howe puts Rashad on the wall on the exit of the corner. Unintentionally, these cars just get really tight. Miles Johnson really trying to get past.
The white flag is out. Colors. 1 more to go. Donnie will making a move. 3 wide for the lead.
Can CJ Howe make that inside lane work?
Oh, and Colliers goes around in the back of the pack.
Let's get back to that lead packer now. Javen Tucker has a
lead. Who's going to get the run, though? They're pushing hard behind. 2 more turns to settle it. 4
What
cars
an
in the
amazing race
mix.
so far. It's been an awesome race coming down to the wire. As they're going in, they're going to fan out in turn 3 and 4. Rashad trying to
push
fan
from
out, get
the
some of that
back
clean
lane.
air. You got to push Donnie Woods on the outside.
Oh,
Contact.
contact.
Rashad's trying to make a run.
They're spinning behind them.
Couldn't quite get there.
To the line.
Javen Tucker takes it.
Javen Tucker wins the Thanksgiving 100. What a race.
See, I told you at the beginning of the race, Miles, Javen Tucker did not have the race car that he thought he had underneath him, but under race trim, he made some adjustments during those pit stops after he got those fresh tires, got more comfortable with that race car, and he put it in the place that he needed to put it. First place at the end of the day. Big round of applause for Javen Tucker.
Man, Javen Tucker was fast all day in the number 99 car. Man, it was fun to just watch everyone race. This is such a way to kick off these cars, just to give these cars something. This is going to be a fun season, this Strictly Stock Series we got coming up soon. This is going to be a lot of fun to watch these drivers play it out.
Super, super excited, super stoked for this season. We're going to have a combination of ovals and road courses, so these drivers have to take these heavy cars and battle them through twists and turns of multiple different road courses. The schedule is not yet finalized, but we're still working through some things right now with the game and the schedule, but right now super excited to see these drivers put these cars on track and have a hell of a showing tonight. Don't you think so there, Miles?
Man, this is good. This is a hell of a race tonight. And it was just so great to watch it with you, man. I even broke out in a sweat just watching it. All the big wrecks, big moments, 3, 4 wide. This is everything a fan could have wanted in a race. And this season is going to be awesome with these race cars.
My heart's beating out of my chest right now, Miles. It's beating all the way out of my chest. That was an awesome race.
Anyways, we're about to sign off. We would like to thank all of our sponsors and people, Metze Painting, Brown Motorworks, the Midlands Media Group, a lot of people that help us out. Pride Apparel, the sponsor of our tonight's winner, Javen Tucker. Javen Tucker also looking for some funding in his real-life racing career, so if you know anyone that would love to sponsor a young racer, hit up our winner for the night. But man, thank you for watching us with Rashad, and I can't wait to be back at the racetrack.
I'm super excited.
So long from the Gran Turismo Online League. Javen Tucker is your winner in the Thanksgiving 100. We will see you next time.